right, we're live.
All right, awesome, awesome. Well, welcome everyone to our 35th TAN Council recurring meeting. Apologize for the voice, a little under the weather. This is Cody. For today's meeting, we'll pretty much just be opening up the floor for some open discussion and Q&A. Firstly, however, let's start with an overview of the TAN Council and the purpose of these reoccurring meetings. These reoccurring meetings serve five critical functions. They provide transparency to the community. They create a structured forum for proposal discussions, enabling authors to present to the council and community and to discuss, debate, and refine for formal proposal and voting with consensus. They enable regular platform updates. They ensure consistent communication amongst council members. And finally, they allow direct community engagement through question and answer sessions. TAN Council is a local governance organization within the Telcoin platform. Together, we serve as a provider and administrator of collective goods and services within the jurisdictional domain of the Telcoin Application Network, or TAN. The TAN Council, with our 6 members, makes decisions related to TAN improvements and policies through the TAN-IP or TAN-IP process. We need 5 out of 6 votes to approve proposals within a 120-hour voting period. Our primary duties are to allocate tail issuance on TAN for stakers and developers to harvest, plan and finance the development of the Telcoin application network. Our key responsibilities include reviewing and voting on snapshot proposals, attending these bi-weekly meetings, providing regular community updates, monitoring TAN systems, and enforcing operational rules. We use Discord and Slack for day-to-day communication, the forum for informal proposal discussions, these reoccurring council meetings for proposal discussions, deliberation and refinement, and snapshot for formal voting. Overall, the TAN Council has authority over minor harvesting and planning and financing TAN infrastructure. I'm going to go ahead and get into the recap of last meeting. Last week's TAN Council meeting focused on the results of week 28 and 29 of the TAN IP rewards program. We also discussed Telpets and the Testnet and touched on some developer updates. This week, we'll look at the TAN IP1 results from the current week, discuss the web unification project and developer landing pages. My bad. And look at incentive programs for Adiri Testnet applications and developers. At this moment, I'm going to go ahead and pass it off to Derek, and I appreciate you guys.
Thanks, man. Thanks for doing that. I know you're feeling a little under the weather. Yeah, so I would just pulled some of the data for the TAN IP1 for week. This would be period 31 of TAN IP1, which is the third week we've ran this since we've restarted it. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen and we'll go through some of the data here. Give me just a second. This will take a minute to get worked out. Okay. All right. Sure that's coming through on the stream. It is perfect. Okay. So just a little bit about the data. I will post this for everyone to see as well. But just a little bit about kind of the data set and what we're seeing here. Pull my notes here. Yeah. So a few things to point out. One, we're starting to see the wallet count grow, which is a good thing. You can see kind of the wallet counts. When I say that, weekly wallet count are people actually using swaps. First week was 99. Second week was 109, and now we have 159. So we're seeing kind of a steady growth, which is what we wanted to see of the rewards and of active wallets trading. So that's excellent to see. And let's see what else. The total fee volume. So that's kind of one thing I really wanted to point out, is that the total fee volume has basically doubled week over week. Means we're seeing more swaps going through. And everything else total fees went from, I think, 330K in period 29 to 686K this week. That's the highest volume we've had since the restart. And that composition of the volume is shifting in the right direction. So that's great to see. Also, this will all be available on Discord and the public channels as well. I need to repost it. I posted one version, but it didn't have the titles on some of the pivot table graphs. So But a few other things, the staker referee ratio is starting to normalize as well. Period 28 we saw was 73% of wallets, or really rewards were referee. Now, again, remember, referee rewards don't count for your wallet in this specific system. But it was more saying, looking at who is doing what. So I thought that was important to point out. So 28%, or period 28 was 73% referee, 27% staker. Was heavily skewed, and then period 31, we're seeing 56% referee and 44% staker. So we're starting to see that gap close, which is what we want to see. You can kind of see that in this graph right here, the fee dominance graph. It'll show you, we want to see this line tight together. That's kind of the goal, to keep things in parity there. Eventually, what we will probably see is those lines almost touching. Is ideally the goal there. Um, the let's see, the referee fees are growing, but they're not dominating. So they went from 209K to 382K. But the staker side outpaced it, which is the pattern we want to see. Referrals growing alongside, but not ahead of organic trading. That's the positive, kind of that metric we really want to watch, is making sure that our referral fees are not outpacing organic fees, essentially. The output per wallet is recovering above the baseline. Average fees per wallet, which is going to be this metric down over here on the far right side, was about, let's see, was about a little under 4,000 in period 28, and then it went to about 3,000. Now we're back over 4,300 again per wallet, and that's with an increased wallet amount from last week of 50 wallets of actual usage. So that's what we want to see there as well. um, rewards cap Reward capture is still heavily capped, but it's improving. So when I say reward capture, I'm looking at specifically the percentage of tell rewards out of the entire pool. So as everybody knows, it's a 3.2 million tell per week pool, and only the staker fees are the ones that are going to be paid out, if that makes sense. So those are the fees that you generate yourself in trading. So it's essentially refunding you for your trading fees. And the first week out of the total pool, we saw 2.84% and 3.75%, now 8.74%. So we'll continue to see this kind of um, creep up till we find a normalized amount, I guess you would say. Which means that until we hit 100%, everybody will earn essentially free rewards back. If that makes sense. Oh, I just realized my screen is not showing. I apologize. Can we get that back up here? There we go. Okay. Um, so I think those are all some really important things that we have to continue to consider when we're talking about what's going on with the platform. I do like to see that there's still new wallets onboarding. It's still small, 16, then 11, then 12 new wallets per week. Nothing crazy, but it's a steady baseline improvement. Organic discovery is, I think, what that is showing, instead of incentive-driven sign-up spikes. We need to watch and see what happens as the volume increases. Um, and then the last one I made was that this is kind of the first week where the data is moving in every direction at once. There's more wallets, higher volume, better comparison, and improved reward capture, without any of the red flags of our old system. The new equilibrium is starting to not just hold and hold up; it's starting to grow. So that's what we want to continue to see. I'll be watching closely the percentage of tell rewards and the overall volume. I think those are the two most important ones. So, any questions from you guys or anybody in the chat? Okay, good deal. Yeah, pretty straightforward stuff. This will all be again posted on the association Discord channel, so I'll have that up there. The updated version. I posted one, but I'll have the updated version, and you can track along as well if you'd like to. Okay, moving along. This is kind of a little bit of an open-ended discussion thing, but I wanted to touch on the web unification project that we've mentioned in some of the other calls, and the developer portal that we are building for that. I don't think we've talked a ton about that in this call, but I think it's important because it is an integral part of the website redesign that we're doing, and the whole infrastructure. And Nick, I'm sure, can add some color here for anything that I'm missing. But the general consensus right now is kind of one thing we identified when we first started this program and project was that the website as it stands right now does not really have a great welcome or landing page for developers, right? So if I'm a developer and I'm looking for a network to maybe mess around with on a project that I have, I'm interested in doing, the we don't really have a great landing page. Nick, we looked at Polygon, we looked at a few websites that we thought had really solid kind of developer portals, right?
Yeah, yeah, we looked at a lot. I mean, overall, there is not really we don't have a dedicated developer landing page for developers. So that's the first problem, and that's obviously, like Derek said, one big thing that we're incorporating into the new unified web presence. But yeah, we looked at loads of different ones: the Aglayer developer landing page, Solana's developer landing page, all the top protocols we looked at. Taken into consideration a lot, and we're really working hard to make the developer experience, is going to be really good for the obviously starting with testnet, but yeah, and it will be ongoing after that as well. It won't just be like it's built and done. We'll be constantly refining and adding as the network, improves and moves on towards mainnet. But yeah.
Yeah, right. And I think the big thing here, and Cody, you probably deal with more developer protocols and stuff probably than anybody, but the biggest thing that Nick and I had really tried to focus on is, and I'm really excited when we'll finally be able to, hopefully in a week or two, we'll be able to show some actual some test
Design.
example, yeah, design examples of what we're working on. But I mean, it's a really clean design. It's really focused around keeping things very simple, keeping things at a level where developers can understand very quickly why it's a benefit to them, not just the technology stack, but what incentives they have to build on the network, what different levels of building can they do, and then if they want to, they can dig deeper into some of those documents, and that's kind of the focus. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, and the landing page will give you, you'll understand, a developer will understand exactly what the Telcoin network is about, what incentives there are depending on what path they choose to develop on. Then it will give them, it will guide them down the rabbit hole. They can either jump straight into the deep end with the docs, or go through maybe some example code or something like that. But all in all, it's going to be really good for them. And to be honest with you, the main reason why we haven't kind of publicly shared any designs yet is because at the moment we've only got placeholder content. We're on the design phase of all the pages, so we've only got placeholder content inside them, and we don't really want to, when the content's not accurate or not been signed off, I don't think we want to show them publicly until that's done. But after that's done and before the build phase, because after all these designs are signed off, we then go into the build phase of actually getting the site built, which will be pretty that's the last hurdle and the final run. So it won't take too long after that. But yeah, as soon as we get this things, the content signed off and things like that, then I think we'll be able to share lots of stuff, lots of designs, right?
Yeah, and I mean, I think the most important thing is being able to show, at least in my opinion, be able to articulate without having to spend more than a minute, be able to easily show the different building paths for developers. So,
Yeah, yeah,
being able to show like if anybody can obviously build on the network and how to do that with a faucet and everything else. Um, and then being able to articulate the value proposition of being a GSMA certified developer and what that enables from a monetary stance for developers, and the earnings they can earn from that on a weekly basis, very similar to how TAN IP1 works, where the developers. Go ahead, Nick.
yeah. No,
Go
I
ahead.
was, oh, no, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. Oh, yeah, and I
You're
was
good.
going
You're
to
good.
say that testnet is now up, so technically developers are more than welcome to start testing and building on top of the network. So that's not a problem. And also, if there are any devs out there while we're going through this period of getting all the unified web stuff up there, you can always send an email to devs@telcoin.org for any information you need, or tips and things like that, or if you want to set up meetings to have a chat, no problem at all. Get in early, just start building.
Yeah, yeah, and I think really articulating like that, similar to TNIP1. This is, I guess, important for community too, but similar to TNIP1, the volume that's kind of generated through these apps or through these developers, white label apps would, if they are part of the GSMA pool, they would have a rewards pool that they could earn from. They have a lifetime issuance cap, just like any retail user. So, for instance, if that developer, in order to keep earning rewards or earning kickbacks, would need to continue to stake more and more tel through the lifetime of their development on the network. So it creates, not just, we felt that it was a better model doing that than giving grants right off the bat. Oh,
Yeah,
here's 50 grand to come build on our network. A lot of projects you'll see will take that money, do their build out, and then just jump to the next network. And we
yeah,
want to we want to
they
incentivize people staying. Yeah,
for
yeah.
the
So
grants, and yeah, and what we want to do is incentivize you to stay and carry on building, and earn rewards from the network itself. So it's super cool. It's super cool, and it's super high tech. This Telcoin network. So
really
to
is.
understand, and we also want to kind of improve on what other layer ones and other blockchains are doing. So we're trying to bring in some sort of account management as well for developers. So the human touch is always important. I think when you're building on a new platform, you might not get all the answers you want straight away. So we're going to be working very actively to integrate and talk closely to developers, and help them out as much as we can.
Yeah, and I know you obviously can't share names or anything, but I know we've internally have had some pretty high level conversations with a few different concepts and people looking for a specific use case like ours to develop on, and it's some pretty exciting stuff coming out of the woodwork. So
Yeah,
um,
all the
once that's
groundwork's being laid now.
yeah, yeah. Once that stuff is live, it'll be even better. But I know everybody asks, well, how much they have to stake and what does that look like? And because people are thinking of supply and what else. But yeah, they would be under the same issuance caps and as everyone else. So in order to continue to be eligible, they would have to continue to stake more and more Telcoin, and that's kind of the use case. And then not just that, but the redundancy of as Nick said, the technology behind the actual network is a huge benefit and reach. So. Um, yeah, so if you know anybody that's interested in trying to build any things nowadays, if you are handy with AI and Claude, you can easily do it yourself if you have a concept or an idea. You feel free to reach out to the developer team at devs@telcoin.org, and we'd be happy to get everyone started there. In the future, ideally, these seats like mine, which is a developer seat, are filled by people that actually are developers on the network. That's the end goal. We're just kind of placeholders while this thing gets built. So, being able to have developers sit in these seats and make governance decisions that are beneficial from a developer lens is going to be awesome. So, uh, let's see. Any questions? Please feel free to ask them in the chat. I see Dally's there. Thank you, Dally. And otherwise, we'll keep moving here. What my next point? Oh yeah, and the next thing, and Nick is here to talk a little bit about it. So thank you, Nick. But one thing we're going to start looking at internally is how we can incentivize with rewards testnet activity. So Nick and I talked a few times now about how potentially we could look at developing a TAN IP to utilize some of these unused rewards that we have and incentivize activity through, for instance, tel pets, where we would have a pool of rewards in real tel that are distributed based on what that looks like on a weekly POC base. There's a few different ways we got to talk through it, but the idea being is we want to encourage community members to continue to drive transactions on the network because that's a huge help for both validators that are onboarding and setting up their nodes, and then also developers. And and the development team, the dev team. So um, we don't have a one of the we floated a few ideas around. One was we take the unused balance of the 3.2 million that we have from the weekly TNIP and we distribute that in a way that makes sense, whether that be via XP ranking or whatever. But Nick, maybe you can extrapolate a little bit on kind of what we were talking about.
Yeah, exactly. There's many ways to skin a cat, so to speak. I mean, on a side note, we're approaching 4 million transactions now on Telpets, so it has slowed down a little bit. That's kind of normal. I mean, some users might get a bit bored of clicking buttons and things like that. However, there are some dedicated users on there that are still helping and contributing. But I'm going to be working on a bit of a spruce up on the pets. I haven't done much on it for the last 2 weeks or so. So I've been jumping around on other stuff, but I'm going to come back to it and take some time just to clean things up a little bit and improve stuff. And we want to be able to add some new types of tests as well. So, it's not it's pets is something that evolves anyway along in line with what the devs want to focus some testing on the network. So we'll be sort of tweaking it a little bit. But yeah, like Derek said, we've been floating ideas on how to incentivize testers that are putting in the effort and the work, or for helping. So there's many ideas, and nothing's set in stone yet. And this discussion is kind of open-ended to the community and to obviously other council members as well. We're not going to rush into a decision like next week, but we will. This is a focus that we want to work on now and come up with an idea. And a couple of the ideas are, like Derek said, we've got a weekly leader. We've got a total XP leaderboard, which is a bit unfair because if you start at the beginning and you play it every day, nobody's catching you. But we've got a weekly leaderboard now on there, which resets at midnight on Sunday UTC time, UK time. Runs for the 7 days, and so then even a new player who joins up and starts for the week, technically they could be the number one player of the week if they put in the work. So there's one idea of potentially doing like a weekly reward for the position on the leaderboard, maybe even like a minimum amount of XP to be on the leaderboard. Then the top 1, 2, 3 positions get a bit more. I mean, there's many ways, and we want to kind of make it fair, but we also don't want to make it complicated. We just want to keep this as simple as possible. So there's lots of ideas, but it's open-ended. Feedback's welcome in the Telegram channels or wherever you want in the Telpets Telegram as well. Ideas, etc. But yeah, that's kind of where we are now with it. It should be fun. At least having some reward incentives should pick up some users on the system and help to continue testing. Yeah, go for it, Boo. What's up?
Yeah, just one thing going forward. It doesn't have to be for today, but if we could have some detailed look at the explorers, I think that might be beneficial.
Yeah,
for sure.
On the explorers, we've kind of I can touch on. Well, we've got one on that's up now. These are both kind of council-led initiatives for the moment. The second one is not quite ready yet for public release, but it will be soon. That one there is super exciting, and I've been working on some really cool stuff for it. I showed Derek a little photo earlier of something I'm working on. But yeah, I think what we'll do with the explorers is, I know that Ari as well is, we're waiting for a bit of stuff on the back end there's a couple of different technologies we can use on the back end, and we are just waiting to get to start work on that part, and it requires a few other things to happen first. But I reckon that in a few calls, maybe the next call, the TAN call, we could probably go into a bit deeper on the explorers.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Yeah, no, we can plan that for sure. I think that's a good thing to do for sure.
Yeah. There's a lot of work. There's a lot of work.
Yeah, they are. Not necessarily the reading of the live blocks, but indexing, and there's a lot of work that goes into them, especially building one that's robust enough and not just a shell.
Well, Yeah, and because of the way the Telcoin network is built, it's not just EVM. EVM's only the one part of it. So these explorers, traditional explorers that you look at, like Etherscan or Polygon Scan, because they're all EVM based, it's based on block. But with the Telcoin network, there's more layers to it as well. So the kind of thing we're trying to work on is to make a much more in-depth explorer that doesn't just show you the blocks and things like that goes into the consensus and much deeper into the other layers of inside the network, which is something we're working on, and it's not an easy task. I don't think anyone's done it before either. So if we once we build out this kind of next gen explorer, it will be far more deeper than just the likes of Etherscan or Polygon Scan and things like that. So yeah, there's a lot going on there.
Yeah, and then I know also there's been some questions asked, but working on kind of some metrics on, gotta have this part done first before we can start measuring, TPS and things of that nature. Obviously, theoretical stuff is great, but we want to get some raw data. I know the devs are working on that too. So
yeah, exactly. The testing and stuff like that is really helping to do things. And TPS is not the greatest metric in the world anyway. It's quite old fashioned. There's a lot more
yeah,
to
it
it.
is. Time
Um,
to finality is one of the best things you
exactly.
can talk about.
Exactly. So, like if you think about early Ethereum would take however long to confirm your. It's like when you send tokens to an exchange on Ethereum, they need like 30 confirmations before they're approved. Like it needs to do a lot of checking before it's kind of in your exchange wallet. So how long does that normally take? Like 10 or 15 minutes sometimes.
Yeah, about 15. Yeah.
So all of that is obviously to verify the transactions are genuine and not any dodgy stuff going on. So they just wait for multiple confirmations from different nodes. But with the Telcoin network, with instant finality and things like that, it's a lot different. The technology is a lot different. So we will be working on trying to get metrics and stuff soon, but it's a bit early to do that at the moment.
Sure. Thank you, Nick. Yeah, I know that's as we say, I feel like we say this all the time, but it's a lot of really interesting stuff happening, especially on the dev side of things, and some of the other conversations with things and other internal conversations that we're having, and there's going to be a lot coming down the pipeline for the TAN Council. That'd be good stuff.
Yeah, we'll get busy. We'll be busy.
Yeah, very much so. I'm already, yeah, already. Let's see. Any other questions here in the council or in YouTube or X on the stream? Feel free to ask. We'd be happy to answer those for the TAN Council or any application or developer or testnet type of things. Just please ask. We'll give it a few minutes here or a few seconds and go from there. Okay. Not really seeing anything come through. As a reminder, I will post the moving forward. We're going to have the TAN IP1 dashboard and pivot tables will be posted on Discord, on the association Discord page. When we get the web unification launched and the new website launched, that'll all live on our website. So it'll be much easier from a navigation perspective. This is just a temporary thing for now. So, yeah, we'll let, seeing there's no more questions, if you have anything, please feel free to put them out on the appropriate channels. Reach out to a council member in Slack or in Telegram, X, whatever. Otherwise, we will call it here and we'll see everybody in 2 weeks for the next TAN Council meeting. Thank you, everybody. Appreciate it.
Later, everyone.
Cheers.